Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. Two quick ones before we jump into the most wonderful rolling art you've possibly ever seen. Our new shirt is live on the store now. We've got long sleeve, short sleeve, green and black. We're super stoked about this new design and just lots more coming. The other one is, I've said it a couple times, gonna keep saying it, mid-April, we will be launching the Autotopia LA podcast. We're super excited about it. Our set looks badass and I can't wait for you guys to check it out. So sometime soon, mid-April likely, Autotopia LA podcast is coming. Now with that said, very early on in the channel, when we didn't have a clue of what we were doing as far as shooting and editing goes, we had the opportunity of shooting this. This is legitimately, honestly, anyone that knows me has heard me say this. It's one of my top 3 favorite custom cars of all time. Think about how many cars I've seen, driven, experienced. One of my top 3 favorite cars of all time ever built. But we sucked back then and we didn't give this car the shoot it deserved. So it's under new ownership. I love that he actually says he doesn't even feel like the owner, he feels like the custodian of this vehicle, and he's giving it the care it deserves. So with that, I want to introduce you to the owner, the custodian of the 51 Ford Coupe. This is our friend Desi. Little dramatic, I know, but that's how, I've told you already how geeked out I am on like, holy shit, we get to shoot this car again. Bruce Levin has the car built by Craig, Wicked Fabrications. It goes out, it wins a lot of awards, it's seen a lot. Then it sells for an absurd low dollar amount, given that it's north of $1 million build. And then the car just disappears. It's never seen from again. It's like, it's not on the road. Why don't you take it from there? Like you tracked down.
Sure. Well, I first saw it at SEMA in 2016, like you did.
Yep.
And I kept going back to it, looking at it, saying, wow, that's cool. Neat car. I'd never owned that, but that's awesome. And like you said, it disappeared. I saw it on your channel. I saw it on Jay Leno. I saw it online and in magazines, and it just disappeared.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, my son was looking at buying a car at a local dealership. And so I was doing some research on the dealership and looking at the cars they had previously sold.
Fusion.
And this popped up.
Fusion.
Yeah, Fusion Luxury. Like, how did that happen? And how was it 20 minutes from my house? And I never knew it was there. I finally kind of got up the guts to go down there and just say, hey guys, I know this is weird, but can you make an offer to the owner? I'd like to purchase it. And initially the response was no, not for sale. So we went back and forth and they brokered this deal for me. Eventually the owner gave up and said, fine, I'll sell it.
Yeah.
You know, I paid a lot more than he paid. Yeah. But still, you know, it was worth it because I knew what it was.
I know you've dealt with a lot of things mechanically on the car because it's been neglected for so long. I don't really want to spend time on that because it's repairing just neglect. But I think it'd be fun to walk through what Craig and his team at Wicked Fab built. Yeah.
So the
51 Ford Coupe, by the way.
51 Ford Coupe.
Not one of the most attractive cars ever made.
It was a businessman sedan back in the 50s. So.
The shoebox, right? Because it looks like a rolling shoebox.
Right. The idea was, again, to make it look like they could have taken it over to Europe to race in the 50s.
Right.
So everything is 50s themed. One of the most important things I think that a lot of people don't realize is they did not chop the top.
Yeah.
They did pancake the top an inch and a half to take some of the round out.
Which there you go. Pancaking, flatten it a little bit.
Right, so it took some of the round off of the top. Probably the most extreme they did though was they wedge sectioned the cars. They cut the entire car in half, pulled it down, 5.5 inches on the front, 2.5 inches in the rear. That's a lot of body.
It's so cool.
That's a lot missing.
It's so much metal work.
They wanted to pancake the hood, but it was much easier to just create a new one. So this is a new aluminum hood because this usually comes way out here. There's a peak.
I didn't know that before. I thought it was the original work.
The peak's like way out here.
So flat sheet of metal or aluminum turns into this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The
French
bumpers are obviously taken off the front and the back. The
Yeah.
front grille is one piece of aluminum that was custom milled to fit in there. And then the style of the two kind of bullets or whatever was on the original, they made into fog lights here, right? The headlights, I believe, are stock. I don't know if the bezels are stock, but they did not French them on purpose. Because a lot of people, when they do shoebox Fords, they French them because that looks custom. They didn't want it to look custom, they wanted it to look like a race car. So you would just bolt that back on. That's why that looks like that and it's not Frenched in like you would expect. Louvers on the hood, of course, aren't stock. The wheels are magnesium wheels. They're 16-inch. They didn't go with 20 or 22-inch or anything.
It's such a purist approach to stay period correct to the time, you know?
Yeah. And they're made out of magnesium. I talked to the guy, Vintage Engineering, I believe is the name.
And true knockoffs, obviously.
They're true knockoffs. The safety wires are on them. And they didn't overdo it. They didn't go with, you know, real skinny tires or anything. Tried to keep it kind of beefy looking.
I remember this being a Lincoln 360, right?
368 cubic inch.
368. Yep. And the purpose of that would be, in that time, you would have done that to get a car that makes more power.
Absolutely. When you had a Ford back then, you threw a Lincoln motor in it. It was the big boy.
Yeah.
It was out of a Lincoln Continental Mark II, in 1956, actually. I talked to the engine builder at Grand National. It was awesome. He stopped by and told me all about it. Transmission is a T5 5-speed. It's a modern transmission.
Yeah. Is it a Ford 9-inch in this car?
No, it is a Speedway Engineering quick change.
Because that's what you would have had back then to change
right.
gear sets,
That's
right?
right. You go to a different racetrack, you need to change gear sets quick. When we drive it, you'll hear it's continuously whining. That's the rear end. Because it's not angled gears, it's straight gears. And so it sounds cool. We also have trafficators that pop out later.
When you do turn signals like old British taxi cabs almost, these will pop out and that's your turn signal.
Yep. And then you put the Lincoln emblem on there, since it has a Lincoln motor, and that throws people off at car shows all the time.
Why does your shoebox have a Lincoln? Yeah, I know.
Look under the hood. That's why. And then, of course, the exhaust is there on the sides.
Which is just so sexy with the aircraft style rivets and stuff, man.
Yeah, they did a nice job on that.
This is the part I go nutty on every aspect of this damn car. We haven't even touched on interior yet, but as we start making our way back here, all the elements of jewelry that exist on this car, from your door handles to you see through here at your hinge on the window.
Yeah, the little door handles, they're actually electronic. So when the car first came to me, the battery was turned off and I couldn't get in. I had to reach in and I was trying to figure it out, and it turns out they're electronic.
So great.
You can hear it. So.
And look at the way it closes. Yeah. Like a barely touch and it's gapped perfectly and flawlessly.
Good job.
Gosh, man, with what they did up here, huh? This treatment on the roof, man.
It looks like an old 1950s Mercedes SL or an old Impala, 50s Impala. They had that vent as well. So that was the look. It fits. Side windows are all polycarbonate. So again, like a race car,
pull-ups.
They go up and down, right?
Like full race car style. You just pull it to where you want it.
Yep.
And then it has a locking mechanism up here if you pull it all the way.
The back here, there's some subtle things that are very cool that I want to make sure to point out.
Yes.
Number one, this on a shoebox was a big piece of chrome that went like a triangle from here to there, and it was just bolted on the outside of the body. To keep that look, the body's still the same shape, but he Frenched in this little teeny piece of chrome into the body, which just looks very classy. And you don't notice it unless you've seen a shoebox Ford before. 49 headlights, 49 trunk hinges. In 51, they got rid of these to smooth it out, but he wanted the older look, so they went with the hinges.
The elephant in the room that no one's talking about yet. This is always one of my favorite things on this car is this fuel filler.
And it's real. That's where the fuel goes in. Now this side's a vent, that side's fuel.
It is the greatest fuel filler ever. That's full one-off, isn't it?
I believe it is. I believe it is. And then of course the rear bumper's missing here. Straps on the back, just like on the front. The license plate, in case you're curious, that's a real 1951 license plate.
Is it really?
Yeah, I bought it from a guy that restores plates and registered it with the DMV. It took them several months and they finally said, yep, it's good. That's a real license plate. It's really registered to drive on the road.
And then this is venting under here?
Yep. And what's interesting about this, if you notice these look like little rivets.
Yeah.
Behind each one of those rivets is a lock nut, an acorn lock nut. Every single one of those. It's just unbelievable the detail they went into. What blew me away the first time I went underneath the car is that it's not like your typical build where you may see some bolt threads here and there. You don't see any bolt threads. Every bolt was cut to the right length and a round nut was put on the end. So you don't see threads anywhere coming through a bolt.
But let's pop the hood now and see.
Right.
This is where the music goes, ah. got to throw this out. You really got to credit Craig Wick and his Wicked Fabrications team, because they,
Absolutely.
dude, I've seen so many cars. I've experienced so many wonderful builds, and to have this still be from 2016, one of my top 3 favorites of all time.
Yeah, they did a nice job. Might be a little bit dusty because I drive the car. It's expected.
We're okay with a little dust there, Desi. It's looking pretty damn good, man. There's something about these Hillborns, isn't there?
There's a little more news. On my website, I actually have a blog that I'm keeping track of everything I'm doing to the car.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, I was at Grand National Roadster Show. This lady and another gentleman walked up and they were looking at it really close. Said, any questions? And I said, we're the Hillborns. I'm like, excuse me? I said,
Come
"We're the Hillborn
on."
family. I said, no. They said, yeah, we don't recognize that. We're trying to figure out what that is. And I said, oh, it's supposed to be very rare, blah, blah, blah. So they took a bunch of pictures of it and they said, we'll go back and find out. About a month later, they emailed me and said, hey, we found all the paperwork. I'm like, no, you gotta be kidding. So they sent me the paperwork for the first 3 that were built, because the rumor was it was one of 3. Built
That's
for
what I had
racing.
heard.
That's what everybody had heard.
Yeah.
That's what Bruce Levin heard, because he was there at Hillborn. And then they started asking about the serial number. I said, I don't know. I started looking all around and I found a serial number stamped in number 126. What they gave me was 101, 102, and 103. So they said, okay, well then we didn't make 3. We made 26, at least, maybe more. So they went and did paperwork again. They found the paper for 126. So we know it's at least one of 26. Could be one of 50, but it's not one of 3. That was just something that somehow.
Well, shit. I mean, if there's 26 of these, it's not even rare anymore, huh? I mean, come
I'm just
on.
gonna trash it now. It was interesting. It was good to find out. But the Hillborn family dug into all the handwritten paperwork for each one of these things.
That's why you guys, when we started the video, I was saying, because I remember you saying this, although you are the owner of the car, that you consider yourself a custodian of it. And I think it's such a cool way to approach it, because it is such a rare piece of art that does drive down the road, and to care for it in that manner. You know, dude, I've told you, you guys have no idea how many times I've just geeked out with Desi. The poor guy's probably like, all right, let's get this shoot over with already.
No.
The other thing I love, obviously, the plugs mounted on the firewall.
Yep, everybody asks about those.
Old school race car stuff, right?
And the Magneto it has modern electronic ignition inside of it, so it's not really a Magneto.
That's right.
As a matter of fact, just to point it out, it's obvious for people to see, but the black part down there, that's modern fuel injection. Underneath the mechanical fuel injection.
That's right.
A lot of the mechanical fuel injection is there for looks and for the air coming in and controlling the throttle bodies, but the fuel injection is down underneath.
Yeah. I don't think I noticed that before, that it's all quick fasteners for.
Well, that's what it looks like until you get underneath.
Come on.
They are not. They're billet aluminum to look like quick fasteners. Each one of these is a bolt with an acorn nut on the back again. So it looks like a screw, but it's a bolt. It's holding the body together.
Just so
it's
genius,
insane.
man.
It's insane. No, they did a nice job. One thing I wanted to point out is it has air conditioning. They tucked the compressor way down to the bottom so you wouldn't notice it unless you really wanted to look. It's down here. See it? So the idea was to kind of keep it out of the way so it doesn't look like, protect his head.
Thank you.
It's not up on top where it would typically be.
The car does sit on air ride.
Not completely.
Oh, that's right. It's got an air lift for the front end.
For the front end, just like a newer 911 or a new Ferrari or whatever. So it has front end lift.
Yes. It's a static suspended
It's all
car.
Kone.
That's right.
Art Morrison chassis with Kone coilovers.
What's the horsepower the 368 makes again?
About 370.
Manual brake setup, is it?
Yeah,
or is it
manual brakes. Willwood brakes, front and rear.
Willwood's all
and
around.
It's got a master cylinder for the front and a master cylinder for the rear.
And it's a hydraulic clutch, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's go over to the interior, man.
Okay.
You guys think I'm geeking out now? Watch what's about to happen to old Sean here. Here's where it gets insane. This is so special in here, man.
Well, there's a lot going on in there. You got the shifter linkage, which is interesting. You've got the pedal box, which is interesting.
So it's a fully custom-made pedal assembly.
I think it is. I believe it is.
And the shifter was always the centerpiece of the interior of the car. It's such a spiker, right? Isn't spiker?
It's like them,
in the realm?
Yep. deal.
And this is your fuse panel?
It's actually a circuit breaker panel because I questioned what it was. And so I went and took a couple of non-important wires and crossed them just to see what happened, and a button popped out. So it works, which is again, that old 1950s airplane look. They would use circuit breakers in an airplane, not fuses.
Sure, but then bring the modern in so you have a reliable
Exactly.
driver car.
Exactly.
All the switch panel up here, can you walk me through what the different switches do? Because I definitely don't remember this stuff.
So the front four are vintage air for the heater and air conditioner, the front four knobs.
These, yep.
The next two is fuel pump, and then fan, and then ignition and accessory, right?
Start.
And then the start button. And then the next one's a dome light. Behind that's the fog light. Behind that's the headlights. On the other side is the suspension lift and drop. The one that's back is the compressor for the lift, and then the last one is the wipers.
I mean, just everything, one off the gauges, like every little thing. The jewelry of the e-brake on here.
Yeah.
The straps, obviously the way I know these aren't stock door panels.
Oh no, all this
The way they
is
fit to
custom
the
made.
dash.
This is not what the interior looks like
Yeah,
at
you
all.
can tell every element of this is one off.
The gauges, I believe, were intended to look kind of Jaguar-ish. The black wrinkle paint is Ferrari-like. The steering wheel, absolutely 50s, right?
Very much so.
The seats that you're sitting on with the tan stripes and the rivets, that's very Ferrari Daytona. So again, they try to pull in things from different cars of that era.
Oh, and I forgot, it has a fire suppression system.
Fire
'cause it's a
suppression,
race
it
car.
is real, so we're not gonna pull that and test it.
And the rear seat delete couldn't be more perfect. Why would you have a rear seat on a race car?
Exactly.
Man, good on you, brother, that you not only bought the car and revived the car, but that you drive the car. Jeez, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some miles on it. And that's the goal.
I forgot that it's called the GT. I still always just call
GT51.
I still call it the 51 Coupe. That's just what I called it from the get-go, right? Because it's a 51 Coupe. And when I say 51 Coupe, this is the only one I'm ever talking about, because that is not two words that come out of my mouth, right? Like, have you guys ever heard me talk about a 50? Anyways.
Well, Bruce Levin named it GT51 because he was a Porsche driver. So GT3,
Right.
GT3 RS. So you call it GT51.
It's too bad that he never got to experience driving this car down the road, you know? You guys, there's a whole story about Bruce Levin that this was a multi-year project. It took
About 6 years, I think.
I knew it was somewhere 6-8 years. And over that time, Bruce got ill towards the end of his life and didn't get to experience the car while it was out on the show circuit. So he never actually got to drive the car. I'm one of the very few that have driven it. You've obviously. The jewelry back here. Battery box.
Yep. Gas tank.
Do you see this? That's where the battery is. That's the fuel tank, right?
Yep. And that's where I spent a lot of my time once I got the car. It had a rubber fuel cell, which is race car-like. But with rubber fuel cells, you have to change them every 5 to 10 years. Well, it had been over 10 years. So it had rotted and gas came out. So I put in a stainless steel tank inside that. So I'll never have to deal with that again. So it's now never gonna have a gas leak ever.
Smart, right? You're not racing the car. Come on, you're not gonna be starving for fuel.
And then all the holes up here, none of that stuff.
All the dimple dye and the different sizes. I remember them talking about the different sizes throughout to keep the aesthetic, the hood hinge, and the toolbox, right? You know what the rubber mallet's for right here, Josh? Let's see if you got it. That's right.
That's a lead mallet.
Lead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That mallet will never touch these wheels anymore.
If it does, you're grabbing it out of the guy's hand and it's going through his head.
No, I got a special tool now, a billet aluminum tool they make that fits onto those so I can use a torque wrench without that. So that's more for looks than anything now.
Let's go drive it and we'll talk more.
Sounds good.
Guys, just so you can understand, I know I've made it pretty clear throughout the shooting of this video. This is special times right here, man. It's a 1951 Ford Coupe, highly customized. There's the whine from the rear end, huh?
Hear it?
Yeah. God, I forgot how good this car sounds, man. I love that you're the one that got this car, man. You're honoring what this is and allowing people to see it. Even right now, like that guy, just drive. He may never see our video or any picture in any magazine, but it just stopped him dead in his tracks, right? Just a unique piece, and you can't shift it the same as you. It doesn't quite feel like any shifter you've ever experienced before.
Yeah.
I love where your clutch. I like the early bite like that. I do. You know, and you're not making such mondo power that you're not nervous about giving some throttle input. You know what I mean? As you're starting to release the clutch.
Yeah.
Any of you that watch the channel regularly and know me, you know that what happens is a car that blows my mind, it shuts me up. I see the indicators popping out of the side. Desi, you know, you saw the early video. I drove it around our neighborhood. I never got it over maybe 30-ish miles an hour to be it. Wow.
Yeah, it drives pretty smoothly.
It really does. The chassis suspension, it feels so nice. I mean, it's fairly tall gearing actually, because I'm still sitting in 4th gear.
Yeah. When I get going 65, 70, I'll put it in 5th and it's 2,000 RPM.
Sure, no, I get that, yeah. What a great car, man. I'm so happy for you, brother, that you're...
I'm glad I could get you back in it.
I get inspired by great success stories, and that you created success through 27 years of having a company to where you could afford something like this and then have the level of love and appreciation for you do. It just inspires me, is the truth, man. It really does. Wow. I just want to go drive it all day.
The downshifts are cool.
Really nice. Oh, so good, man. Good days in my life. This is one of those where you go, man, this is a really fantastic day. So glad you're willing to take the time with us like this.
No problem at all. Sharing it is part of the fun.
Yeah, I get that with you.
I can't park it in the garage. It's just not me. I gotta drive it. It's gotta get out.
Obviously, yeah. I love this shifter. It's so, you kind of got to manhandle it a bit.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's very notchy.
It is, and the mechanism of it, it's not so direct, so it requires a different, it's just like a little,
Yeah.
but I like that you have to manhandle it a little bit.
Yeah. My understanding is these early Tremex like this were notchy.
Makes
And then they made
sense.
changes later on.
Yeah. Because this car, so it debuts in 2016, which means they started around 2008, 2010, somewhere around there. Yeah. I think you could put this car up against any of the greatest and it holds its own without even a question mark. Makes you earn it. That shifter makes you earn it, man. It makes you work for it a little.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it holds true to the intent of the car. This wasn't built to be, let's show everybody the modern technology of today.
Yeah.
This was holding its heart and soul in the era of a 50s race car.
Yeah.
With a lot of jewelry on it. Engine and exhaust is so good. On it, clear bra at all on the car?
The whole car.
It is. I thought
I added it. I even did the wheel wells.
So
But
smart.
it's painted underneath it.
So smart.
I'm trying to preserve what's there
While still getting to drive and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's genius. So smart to do that. All you guys that are still with us and watching here, well, if you're still here, it means you understand the beauty of what this car is going down the road right now. And you know, see, it keeps shutting me up. Boy, that whine is like music, isn't it? Hearing that gear set just whining away. I told you before, I didn't get to drive it for that long. These seats really are not bad at all.
No, they're not bad.
They look like they would border on being uncomfortable, but they're really not bad.
Yeah, no, they did a good job. Sounds good.
You just can't ever get tired of that sound.
No.
have to blimp for the downshift, but I keep wanting to blimp for the downshift
It
because
sounds good, man.
it's so good. I just can't believe I'm driving this car down the road right now. If that ever gets old, that means I am definitely too old, because that just is so wonderful. God, the friggin' sounds this car makes. What do you say? I'm speechless. As you can tell through this whole video, I've been overly excited. You know what, for me, you guys can say whatever you want, but for me, this really is one of my top 3 all-time favorite custom builds ever. Getting to revisit it, getting to sit in it, drive it down the road, man, this was really a special day for me. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this. I want to remind you our new shirts are live on the merch store, atlamerch.com. And another reminder about that we are going to be launching the Autotopia LA podcast sometime in April. And with that, I say thanks for hanging and watching what we do, and I will see you in the next episode. Later.